Hello and welcome to Mirabella's kitchen. Today I'm making chicken enchiladas. I start by preparing a spice rub for the chicken. I take 2 teaspoons of coarse kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of paprika, and 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. I mix that all together and set it aside. Next, I mince about 6 cloves of garlic. So full disclosure, this dish is a bit labor intensive, but it is definitely worth it. I'm making 20 enchiladas today, so please have all the ingredients if you'd like to make 10. That's a perfectly reasonable number to be making. Next, I prepare the spice mixture that will be for the enchilada sauce. So I take 2 teaspoons of coarse kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, you can also use chipotle chili powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. I take 2 cups of chicken stock, aka liquid gold. I made this homemade. If you'd like to learn how I made this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I take 1/4 cup of chili peppers and adobo sauce. This is an optional part of the sauce for the enchiladas. It does bring a nice kick. I take 1 15-ounce can of crushed tomatoes and 1 can of refried black beans, which is a side for later. I take 4 chicken breasts. I remove the fat and I thinly slice the breast horizontally. Next, I tenderize the chicken so they're all even. Why mince the words? I take 1/2 teaspoon of the spice rub and place a 1/2 teaspoon on each piece of chicken. I rub it in so it's even, and then I flip the chicken and do it the same thing on the opposite side so both sides are seasoned. I have a skillet heating over medium heat. Once that's hot, I add olive oil and I fry the chicken. I lay it away from me to prevent splashing. And once the chicken has cooked so it's white up the edges to the top of the chicken, you can flip it and it should be golden brown on the opposite side. Cook it until it's 155 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It's okay to remove chicken at that heat because it will continue to heat after to 165. Save the fond and the oil. I am going to cook the refried black beans in that. It gives it a great flavor that you wouldn't normally expect. Brown tortillas for 10 seconds on each side. I use flour. I shred 1 block of Monterey Jack cheese and 1 block of sharp cheddar cheese to cover the enchiladas with. Now it's time to start making the sauce. So I have olive oil heating over medium heat. I add the garlic and saute until it's fragrant, so about 30 seconds or so. And I add the chili peppers for about a minute. Be careful to not burn the garlic, so watch it. Next, I add the crushed tomatoes, the chicken stock, and the spice blend. Mix that together. I bring it to a boil and then I reduce it to a simmer for 5 to 10 minutes. I take the chicken while the sauce is simmering and I shred it by hand. You can also use a fork to shred it. Save the juice that was from the resting chicken and put in the enchilada sauce. Grease a baking dish with olive oil or cooking spray. And once the sauce has simmered for 5 to 10 minutes, I like to use an immersion blender to blend it so it's nice and smooth. You can also use a normal blender. I take the sauce and coat the bottom of the baking dish with it. This is an important step, don't forget it. And I take half the sauce and put it in a bowl and leave the rest of it on the side. And now it's time to stuff the enchiladas. You take a flour tortilla, dip both sides lightly in the enchilada sauce, put on a separate plate, put 1/3 cup of chicken into the middle of the enchilada, roll it up, and put it in the baking dish. Repeat 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to as many times as you'd like. Take the remaining enchilada sauce, whether it's from the pan and the bowl, and coat the enchiladas with it. Next, cover generously with cheese. You can make this without the cheese. I would bake it for half the time. And I use about 1 cup of both types of cheese per 10 enchiladas. Cover with aluminum foil. And place in a preheated oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 15 to 20 minutes until the cheese is melted and bubbling. I prepare the toppings for the enchiladas while the enchiladas are baking. I'm going to top these enchiladas with some cilantro, green onion, sour cream, and guacamole, and lime wedges. I take 4 avocados to make the guacamole, and I slice them. I take half a lime for the guacamole and squeeze it over the guacamole, and half for the toppings. Take a brief interlude to start the refried beans in the fond and get it all nice and hot for about 5 minutes. Next, I mince this fresh cilantro. Half the cilantro will go into the guacamole and half will be topping. And I take 2 stalks of green onion and slice it. I mash the avocado and I mix it very well to make the guacamole. Then I finally remove the glorious enchiladas from the oven. And that's chicken enchiladas. Thank you for joining me today. I make new videos on cooking every Wednesday. If you'd like to support me on Patreon or on Facebook, please find me at Mirabella's Kitchen, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.